You have tuned in to FOSA. You're certainly in the right place if you want to be inspired to be empowered. I am your host, Crystal Boyd. It certainly is a pleasure. And today's topic is to spin the block or not. For my listeners that don't know what spinning the block is about, it's trending, and I like that because you jump on a trending topic and bam, it resonates. And I said, you know what? It's good for folks to talk about this. So let's get into it. Yeah, spinning the block is basically trying something again. It's mostly noted for relationships, but I wanted to expound on this a bit further than relationships. But we can certainly start there. Most of all, it's usually frowned upon to spin the block. Why? Because you're giving something a try again. At least that's what the masses tend to respond to it that way. But in a relationship capacity, I feel comfortable saying that spinning the block is okay. It is. I'll tell you why. Because if you acknowledge accountability and you say, hey, I didn't do this right, and that person is forgiving, they're understanding, and they come to an acceptance and willing to forgive, then guess what? That spinning the block was well worth it. Not to mention, if that person is a better person. And by better, meaning they're not the same person. You can see that the change is evident, it's clear, the energy is different, the vibe is different, the walk is different, and you guys can ride off into the sunset. So that is okay to spin the block on that particular situation. Now let's take it further than that. All right. We sometimes fail in a career. We could fail in a career goal, in a goal for ourselves. It could even be graduating, from school, from college. I certainly have been there where I even got on academic, probation and suspension. Boo, all bad, all bad. But I certainly felt like it was okay to spin the block. And I did. I didn't just spin just one time, but twice. So went on to get my bachelor's, my master's, and I just didn't give up. I came at it at a different level and was more in tune, more focused, more driven, and ambitious. God laid it before me and made it plain. And so, yes, in that case, spin the block or not, I chose to spin the block. All right. So there are going to be times where that is something that you have to consider, spin the block or not. And what really brought me to talking about this, I've mentioned this just a little bit before, is that it's trending not to spin the block. All right. But I beg anyone to consider like this from a godly standpoint. Didn't God spin the block for us a couple of times? All right. So the not spinning a block, especially for worthy cause, I'm in support of. Like, you gotta spin the block when it's worth it. God thought we were precious enough to spin the block, said that we didn't get it right. He gave his son for us, all that. Jesus gave himself for us. So how much more we give a chance to others, we give a chance to ourselves. And yes, we spin the block. I believe in it. I support it. I sure hope that you do too. Now, as much as I've talked about spinning the block, I have to add a case not to spin the block. Touched on it a little bit before, but I'm going to bring it home really on this portion of the podcast. When spinning the block is not so hot, when you know it's not good for you. You know there's a season for everything. And if the season is telling you not to do that, things are not in place, things are not in position, then by all means, don't spin the block. Don't waste your energy. Don't waste your time. We move in efficiency and maximizing opportunity. Okay? And it's okay to sit that out. It's okay to not spin the block in that case. If you know it's not time, then that's a wise decision. And by all means, let God show you the place where you need to spin the block or not. My call to action for you today is to consider where you should spin the block. I know they're saying not, but hey, let's lean to God on this. Good old-fashioned Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5-6. Lean not on our own understanding, but in all our ways acknowledge God, and he will make our path straight. And he'll make that block straight. I'm tempted to say. So think about that when you're deciding to give something a try or not, to spin the block or not. If you haven't already, be sure that you like, share, subscribe, comment, share some ideas, maybe some topics that you'd like to hear because we do have visitors on the podcast and company and all of that. Awesome features sometime. But share those thoughts, share those ideas. We like to hear from you. You think we're doing a good job? We like to hear from you. And alternatively, if we're doing a bad job, we'd like to hear it too, because guess what? We can grow from some criticism, but just make sure it's positive. You can follow us on Twitter, X now, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and catch us there. Until next time.